Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your news report and second stimulus check update. A second stimulus bill could be approved before Christmas. Congress has until December 11th to come to an agreement to pass more stimulus relief, as well as pass a government spending bill to prevent a government shutdown. Pelosi and Schumer say that $908 billion for an economic relief package should be the starting point for all talks. Now before today, Speaker Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer did not even want to negotiate on a stimulus bill less than $2 trillion. But it seems due to the ongoing pressure from Democrats and Republicans, they have dropped the demands to $900 billion. However, Senator Mitch McConnell still believes that $908 billion spent on an economic relief package is too much. Mitch McConnell is working with other Republicans to approve a second stimulus bill that is possibly around the $500 billion to $600 billion range. Now before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, click the notifications bell, and let's get this video to 5,000 likes if you think that Congress should pass the stimulus bill right now. Now folks, let's see what Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin had to say about a second stimulus bill.
When I last testified before you in September, I stated that America was in the midst of the fastest economic recovery from any crisis in U.S. history. I'm proud to say, while there is still more work to be done, that statement is even more true today. In the third quarter, GDP grew by 33% at an annual rate, beating all expectations and nearly doubling the previous record set in 1950. Americans are getting back to work. The October jobs report showed that the economy has gained back 12 million jobs since April, more than 50% of all lost jobs due to the pandemic. The private service sector, which includes those industries that were impacted by the initial economic shutdown, has regained 58% of the lost jobs. The unemployment rate decreased to 6.9%, a rate not expected to be achieved until the fourth quarter of 2021. The historic bipartisan CARES Act provided the economic relief critical to supporting our robust economy. Additional economic shutdowns, however, continue to impair this remarkable progress and cause great harm to American business and workers. Based upon the recent economic data, I continue to believe that a targeted fiscal package is the most appropriate federal response. I strongly encourage Congress to use the $455 billion in unused funds from the CARES Act to pass an additional bill with bipartisan support.
Everybody tell me in the comments down below, what do you think of Steven Mnuchin? Will he be able to get a second stimulus deal approved between the Democrats and Republicans? The Washington Post reports that the top Democratic congressional leaders on Wednesday embraced a $908 billion relief framework, a massive concession meant to prod President Trump and Senate Republicans into accepting a compromise as cases spike and the economic recovery shows signs of faltering ahead of the holiday. House Speaker Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said in a statement that we believe that bipartisan framework introduced by senators yesterday should be used as the basis for immediate bipartisan bicameral negotiations. Before Wednesday, Democratic and Republican leaders had squared off for months, insisting on bills that the other side would not accept. Wednesday's announcement by Pelosi and Schumer appeared to be the first time that leaders from one party agreed to back a proposal that had substantial support from members of the opposite party. By the way, folks, who do you think is to blame for holding back our second stimulus payment? Is it the Democrats or the Republicans? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. The Washington Post goes on to say that the willingness to accept a potential bill totaling less than $1 trillion represents a significant step down for the top Democrats, who would push for more than $3 trillion in new aid. President-elect Joe Biden has urged Congress and the Trump administration to pass immediate economic relief measures during the lame duck session of Congress. He warns that the economy will continue to deteriorate before a vaccine is readily available. Democrats and Republicans came together to pass close to a $3 trillion stimulus bill in economic aid stimulus bill early this year, but the bipartisan efforts fell apart after the election. Now Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Amid negotiations this fall with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, the House passed a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill, while Senate Republicans stuck to a package totaling about $500 billion. The White House at one point offered a $1.7 trillion deal, although that was rejected as inadequate by congressional Democrats. And according to Bloomberg News, President-elect Joe Biden said that the $908 billion bipartisan proposal would not be the answer but it would be immediate help. He said whatever Congress passes would only be a down payment on what he'll be proposing once he takes office on January 20th. And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell did not immediately respond to Schumer and Pelosi. But Senate Republican John Thune of South Dakota said the Democrats were moving in the right direction. Bloomberg reports that under that bipartisan proposal of $900 billion, small businesses would get roughly $300 billion in infusion for a version of the Paycheck Protection Program of forgivable loans and other aid, and state and local governments will get around $240 billion, including money for schools. And Utah Republican Senator Mitt Romney told reporters the bill that has been worked on between Republicans and Democrats has the best shot of actually passing. There are message bills, and then there are bills that can pass, and we have to have Democratic votes to get a bill through the Senate. And Democrat Josh Gottheimer, one of the co-heads of the Problem Solvers Caucus, and Republican Tom Reed of New York, said in a joint statement, "We are confident we can continue to build on this momentum and get a deal done quickly. We thank Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer for recognizing the critical need for a bipartisan, bicameral, emergency stimulus relief package." And House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer earlier Wednesday expressed optimism that a deal could be reached by the weekend to set up votes by the middle of next week. So folks, it looks like a stimulus bill could be approved before Christmas and possibly by the new year. Every one of our politicians in Congress is pushing for an approval of a second stimulus package. But will it get done? Now let's hear what Fed Chair Jerome Powell said about the CARES Act and more stimulus being approved.
Alleviate the economic burden. Since the pandemic's onset, we have taken forceful actions to provide relief and stability, to ensure that the recovery will be as strong as possible, and to limit lasting damage to the economy. Economic activity has continued to recover from its depressed second quarter level. The reopening of the economy led to a rapid rebound in activity, and real GDP rose at an annual rate of 33% in the third quarter. In recent months, however, the pace of improvement has moderated. Household spending on goods, especially durable goods, has been strong and has moved above its pre-pandemic level. In contrast, spending on services remains low, largely because of ongoing weakness in sectors that typically require people to gather closely, including travel and hospitality. The overall rebound in household spending is due in part to federal stimulus payments and expanded unemployment benefits, which provided essential support to many families and individuals. In the labor market, more than half of the 22 million jobs that were lost in March and April have...
With that being said, folks, that is all the news in today's video. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the notifications bell. That way you'll never miss all of the newest and most up-to-date, reliable stimulus check information. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Until next time, have a great day.